say abusuafo no say mama serem a omo de hye no ombeba munyini free interpol red list no mo yes enye e na ama na bi kura second of Attah pa obetimi abaga na oba mo some mo so womra obeba oba no anka say o say any right o say o ye lawyer
anka say no see a solution
nti wa second of Attah na ye pa ye nye dede manembra oba kro kasa no any right
na bi no o kan sa say me oyobi onim nyansa obahu say ampa kenofo Attah ba na wa mie na no ankasa and right but silence no even a bigger statement be help in the prosecution. So sometimes you know and I'm kasa boom 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 adwene touch na ya na ketwa bi because oba na omo friend no on kasa that alone no louder than even wakasa. What I say na make go wunya mumu what kasa na sa wo se won kasa then court na be kire all that they have to do ni say o se on kasa na ye the court then the court no sa wo se won kasa won kasa then na ya kasa wo se on kasa nti munya no nko fie amo kasa o mo nwene ho yeah I think with the politics on the get it and these characters your mo kasa say no be a nurse doctor not here no who and say we didn't this can so far ni nyina kan obi na sha manfo abufo no so I think it's serious can for Attah busu for say den yeah I think say yes obia wo ho kwan as Ghana need to say anything but you see na make say answer na wo de wanim be kwakwaji ade anim no you should always have your back against the wall so people will not have questions to ask you and to yes na mana. It's good so Obia be fighting for the family member because a dean can for it and I'm sure say Interpol criminal nipa na no more that list no so no a drug syndicate where you just a criminal sir omo wanted within the international community and omo on that list so it's on record and the dean can for it and I link it back to a fear so definitely no you not take it kindly because a good man for any you understand so I think it's okay so what is idea but you see the question maybe some who say enti sabi eniema hunu nana kenofo Attah ye no Nkrumah say no na family no na motiase and now mututu kwan ko China na Vietnam afi no mo aba no mo bete de ekoso when the nonsense was going on in this country you know kenofo Attah abusian for no mo Ghana na no mo vacation na China so they didn't know they didn't read the papers they didn't know what was happening when the guy was foolishly borrowing you can't some China ontie when all use companies here to advise transactional advisors paying friends when the gentleman was aggressively no egu papa kwasi Indian banks and then as for enti family ni enhu nyansa nkasa oya Ghana business wa fa Ghana for enti your family yesrew kane momo kwanya changes kwa na obaye at the supervisory realm na ye na kwasi Indian abie banka oye nipa adwuma yese hwan Saidu Agongo abie adwuma our bank na ne problem nyina ne say or asem court and he cannot own a bank ya different in some egu ni bank Kenofo Attah was the master planner behind some of these things when the guy was borrowing here and there corruption a Japan PDS deal ekoso recordings and na ba ni di wom omo check commission share na as for family no more so you see and America say you could to a point and there is no shame in society I think they should just shut up and allow things to drive you understand because all come back and forth for motion no family should have been the first person to kick in na omonka ana special prosecutor try no so definitely no on the medical condition here complicated and call family na man there identity family na issue statement say say na custody as man time who say nipa anwene when the thing was back and forth now special prosecutor wanted answers you know the family did not write to the special prosecutor they did not go there but now yet not to Interpol red alert so you know free so no I was say I messed that opportunity now yasandina koto so no that is when the family is getting the energy to say your friend say na Ghana for mu you know you some family members sa kwasi head cut na say ye Nkrumah pensioner de ne sika or no save ne sika or say or the akoto government share no aka no forata ebubu omu sika no kama papa no oni abusuani wawu osefom sa ye fa senche so hwan sa ye fa za hotel kase bia wa papa no so no so wawu omudo mu nebusuanfo ye ka bi mo onye ye these are shameless cowards say sometimes I make the politics na cheap and media meme hu sa statement na social media no na me freeze say bi enkwasa me do bi actual to social. I didn't even know that nonsense will be coming from a family member because over the years you know ye nim dia koso Nkrumah ya answer na obetimi aka nsem bi say no the ekoso no esenka waka be pen because when Ghanaians were wailing, no, you cannot say that people were complaining that Kufuor, no, they were all NDC people. No. Ghana for Messia Sofubi or bank or say or Koto government bond, and I just said Nisika Yinan on the Kokoya, dear, or Bobo Siansan or Didi. And the Ohana, sir, I let you Mutia some time ago be almost Angie and Abaton account no free. I want for do more can say, oh, where the Yamiadum, Abatom account. At that time, a Poko do bank or Kwakuya, or Mosan would do a scan by mistake. Enti obi a oye healthy or no didn't seek a go no by force why are for
pressure
and the family ebimu wu sa Gold Coast we na kind of way papa kwasi ndom ade na ode ba. Do you know the number of people musika wom a obo wu omo wu ebimu ada na yare for family no na mo wo hefa. I think say sometimes you know there is no shame in obi aye nema hunu bia na ofa ne ho adi. I am expecting some combat advices the special prosecutor say making sure say you don't witch hunt. Namum emrane nhyehyeye wo ho no ye ba no ye tunu fo obedi so. Na ye ne na kasa say obeba eda sei. Na oba ye be make sure say the esamo ye bia no mo be ye. Say am no ka.
We are okay na je say wo oni nyansafo na ke kasa wo.
Exactly. That is what every normal human being will do. Yes. And these are people as en kaye turu for money yes anema no. What I say. Say abrante ya kan say me say one na ye the masterpiece one puzzle. Puzzle now ye tutu ane ya no. Kenoforata is the masterpiece in the larger corruption puzzle now ye try to ye first say unravel in this country. Gozia me no ka say NIB. Any Yoko for I open a separate investigation about the criminal dealings in this country. So for him, no first, no special prosecutor and one no. But say no, I double obviously a double salansa. Yoko way. So I know the day no, the gentleman is going to have a ride. So the early he comes and face whatever he's supposed to face and stop playing this I am sick card. I am sick. There be a country or you're ready. Obi yare won't win kasasi and I say. But the reality is say, when you be a bedridden, when you be a immobilized, I would have bed so. Aka say on to mean to kwan according to sources go ebinim kwa so mu hunu land not ye fence ba bi didi and the pictures were circulating on social media so wunyo obi a we yare da house wuntumi nante wuntumi nya we yes we a finance minister so wo bo bra papa I will be more than happy enough to avail myself and answer you understand and that kind of what so yare abra no ye finance minister me say hu ni tie siso atimi say akwa na yare no na mo we ask me kotena tv say he should resign for the health sake. Okay.
If you them
yes, because who now team so oyare at that time you know I was worried say even decisions no making were not out of reasoning because the guy was sick at that time no family na hu nyansa hu say oh ya bai oyare so onko tena nche na obi metake over. MPP as a political party MPs in parliament no ka said no Ken abraba wo de economy new born enya abraba papa nti yesro hisi nchen ewie ye Afri doctor now we umkotu no find saying there is this doctor owo Kumasi
and dia pia kubi
no ba kubi o ye and dia pia kubi ba kubi o Kumasi omukotu no primary solution ye onu so am say o doctor o ye otaya interviews oh me ni na me wura fi ye tu no ene otaya grant interview ye ko tu no ma ene otifie because okodi animu say ye nyi Kenoforata floor or lawyer mom oh okay no and there be akubi dan we Kumasi ankasa
there be Eugene now
yes Eugene
you are your doctor
oh okay Eugene asem na America
Eugene Boache
ye tu no Say out if you are no MP.
You say common from.
Yes, because of that, we no mudi any mu say kind of for that and sin change. Yes. Yes, only Andy we no. Ye to bunyina kwatena fie. So this is abrabo akeno for that ababo no Nkrumah say. And nema branch we are Nkrumah say no. Say nya emra na ye adwuma no mudi ko sikejeti ana say makwala nka ema na babu na kuno because of some decisions or take ya it take a man for life away from them. This is the crimes even you can say it's alleged, but the consequences and the impact of these alleged crimes were visible, were very impactful. And the papa was indium. Obi oye your friends adwuma wura na wadan ya kawura. I'm told say na kra na honya de oyare. This is a businessman or creative business that
over 3,000.
Yes, and there is no business that was as a challenge, or even more challenge you but yet as a challenge you hands, what as a company, that is how I run it. So you as an overseer, no, you have to re-engineer plan, and until we lead a Nyansa team, you engineer plan just to ensure somebody can navigate it through. Sabaya nipa benye jumaya. Yet the Timodin gugu sa nyuma we nyina guye. Emma majority of people kotena fie. And na time so obia enya kisu brana be you are out there talking nonsense witch hunting and or yare no say na bra no yare na owu na onfa finance minister na yemfa ntu amana se cathedral na yensesa yesika na was he not borrowing so I think the family should give us a break. Some of this nonsense, this emotional crusade, will not fly in the face of reasoning, in the face of logic. Because Ghana, they lived through the Kanaforata era. They saw what happened. They experienced it. Some lost their parents, some lost their uncle, some lost their wife, some lost their fortune. Then I say for no, and the doings of this gentleman. Branabe, you are not come and answer. Now you over now so that's up to us. You understand? So I think that the special prosecutor must do whatever it takes. I'm happy say the Attorney General has started processes just to ensure that the extradite team then as for it's going to be a bit complicated, but family no one Sembia can and special prosecutor and so much letter command. They should write to Kanaforata. Say and special prosecutor and no. I Ghana for no. Opa say me declare say babia be who Kanaforata bia no momfa na man ka be Ghana for mo abrochom kwakọ hwe ne number. Because do na the sika ba Nkrumah Kanaforata anti sika na kam. They are angry and peeved. Man for better than about Nkrumah say. That is how I'm a boy, I'm a Ghana for you peeved and angry about the way they did their thing. So for me, I think that family needs to just shut up. And Merenes or Mokasano, I come because Abrana near Mahunu Kosono. That was the time I said, Commodium Jim, no mutu more for Siano for Abrana, oh, take it those and Quasia decisions in a Ghana Coboy, but I know my boy, baby, trying to pick the pieces together. Sabi a bit me coming back. Then bringing your voice to the conversation. I think they should give us a break.
Well, it's all.
Leadership and the governance in this animal get cheaper and cheaper on daily basis. And we've gotten to a point there are some people or more behavior on the political stage and until people don't take politics leadership serious anymore. Because very often the very people you expect much from them one omokasa what one Obamabu. And this gentleman, I work on as Kojo Oppong over his life has been on radio, on TV, Kasa, as we are seeing Yansan and as a phone now on the team. But Onya Kenya and Akufo, that privilege was handed over to him. This is a gentleman who could not even manage government information, basic thing information. He could not even manage it because Ope Abayim Bakwan within the media or get it so dirty and milkier in the history of this country. The Akufo government, and this guy was in charge of managing government information. So on one Kasa portfolio he was a failure. He was a change obedient as a foreign buyer. So clearly give you the signals of what the kind of person he is. At some point in time, he now was a YouTube channel now or a podcast as a minister of state. In the dying days of the year going into the election, that was what he was doing. So, and America walk sometimes it's very easy, very cheap, just to make those sweeping comments in a statement. But the reality dawn on you. And he had that opportunity. Yes, Oyagana knew to teach Domahama and NDC how to govern. And as for that question is, before you set yourself to teach somebody, the question is, when you had, it's not as if you've not had opportunity to be in power. What I say, if Odikeka say, and I say any of the opposition parties now we have an opportunity to taste power before I say, or bet Mahama how to govern, I'll pay attention and listen to what they have. But these are guys, these jokers recently were booted out of power because of historic incompetence and recklessness when it comes to governance, leadership. Under Akufo-Addo regime, we all saw what happened in this country. And the era no abaye a tainted way. I leave an indelible ink on the conscience of Ghanaians. Abaye a nightmare. Ghana for don't even want to remember what happened in the last 8 years. And your friends saying within the information space, journalists in this country, how many were hounded? How many were attacked? Journalists were chased out of this country. Kojo Oppong Nkrumah no idea in Nkrumah at the time. Journalists were assaulted. Some were kept in prison in as a form back and forth because they were doing their job, criticizing government and bringing the critical issues to bear. This guy was a minister of state. What's in the voice?
Yeah, baby.
So, Anna Makacho said, answer now you set out to speak, you know. You need to make sure that you have credibility. But you know, you are somebody people will take serious. You matana on my way, so and in the last 8 years, you know, if there is any government I able to make useless in this country, in the history of this country, it's the Akufo-Addo government, and he was part of it. The blueprint is there, and we can just go through, if nothing at all, look at the economy of this country, the way and manner. Even the city, they could not manage it. City, we got to a point that prices of everything was over the bar, and I can who been a Ghana for dear before now home tia koto abati Akufo-Addo the history of this country a billion cedar. And that government wasn't just about mismanaging competence and as a for Krono Kasa, family and friends, state capture and as a forum, Payana use state entities, yes, some special purpose vehicle just to ensure that money will go into the pockets of the cronies and friends of government. Kojo Oppong Nkrumah at the time, where was he? You understand? These are shameless bunch of individuals who always take the stage because politics has become cheap, because credibility doesn't matter in our politics anymore. You can just say anything and get away because these are guys and can almost said them because of what they have done to the people of this country. Because Ghanaians had hope, high confidence in the Akufo-Addo government bringing all these people on board and as a foreign, because it was somebody, several other people who have been within the space coming on board. No, people felt so Akufo-Addo air plug from intellectual kind of way or more just to bring some intellectualism to bear. But at the end of the day, it turned out to be Attah who be there in the history of this country. Recklessness upon recklessness, incompetence upon incompetence, mismanagement, your friends are corruption. Just say okasa wo kan sem na wunwie, and out of that they are to about atia just to your friends play your cards well, just to win the goodwill on the side of the people. Now man for take you serious. You are out there talking nonsense, because if there is anybody to be taught how to govern, I think that they should sit back and learn what is going on. Because John Mahama Baye, yes, a American koye, but clearly you could see few signs here. The dollar is stable. Petrol now man for the ton 17 city despite taxes and as for about muye de and Rameko. Your first filling station we check away 11.59 something.
Maybe I'm at 10.99.
Exactly. So
10.99.
People were buying the first petrol at 17, and as for I'm told say cement price about from 114 and then minimum ton say 92 say 82 thereabout. These are the kind of relief a Ghana for and this is governance. I am not saying say it's the best, but for where we are. And if we do any comparative analysis, there is no way with the last 6 months way what has transpired, or be compared to what happened in the last 8 years. Yeah. So I think that these guys should just shut up. Usually they don't know how to keep quiet. You understand? And I think that most of them are turning out to be attention-seeking freak. When they lose power, now quite an China. A man for so very often, as all about can be been a man for so. But when they were in power, they were all quiet. You understand? Sure. Because there was a time when people needed Kojo Oppong Nkrumah with his media joy, whatever experience, just to rise against the tide and their course within the space. Government information bars was sinking, and this is a journalist. At the end of the day, they couldn't save it. You couldn't even save your outfit to the sense that Akufo-Addo government got drowned in the kind of way and someone lost the information war because it got to a point that people were not even ready to go on TV and go on radio to defend the party because there was absolutely nothing to defend. It was utter nonsense that was being bandied around all over. So I think that these guys should just shut up. Watch what is happening. They are Ghanaians. It's democracy. Mahama Mamone and yeah, DBR right. So as a citizen, you know, you can bring the government attention. That is what you can do. But to say as a Ghana for Monsieur MPP, if MPP as a political party in the last 8 years had anything to offer to the people of this country, a chrono, recklessness, incompetence, and the economy, and unfortunately enough, look at how the dollar is getting a bit stable. Petrol prices in Nasafonum and Yawu to anywhere chrono, a course who Nkrumah and yard because I'm catcher say, wound to me as a person, Sika that was invested in him as an individual, as to change Sika called Ashanti region. Because I'm still searching, that there is no single project in Ashanti region that was started under Akufo-Addo was completed. The cost, you know, anywhere close to about $55 or $60 million. But this guy, 8 million, 45 million plus extra 10 million. Yeah, the forest man, Sika Onya, quantifier over millions of dollars. But there is no single project in the Florida of the MPP at the Ashanti region where they get their vote. I won't say project way say that other people are benefiting. There is none. It tells you the kind of government or mobile. You understand? Yeah. It was an avenue they created to satisfy their insatiable greed. Just to extend good wishes to their cronies, allies. Akufo-Addo by Nabusia for and Nam for them. You see the way they enjoyed. You also for them. When that thing was going on, nobody spoke. And the matter says second for Busia for bold enough to issue. When the nonsense was going around, when the guy was foolishly borrowing, when the guy was using his personal way just to offer advice to finance ministry borrowing and na family no the nonsense that was being thrown around, the family didn't see the need to intervene. Say, Ghana for bread. Even MPP ministers and partner MP sorry say no yankasa na party ni afono yen adia kenoforata ye no the family people na mwanya kokoduro you see and America no there is no shame in the society where we live. When the gentleman was foolishly out there dissipating the resources of this country, the family member because they were enjoying traveling first class and as for Koban and as for them. When these people were foolishly using our money to go and dig a hole in the name of cathedral, where were they? You understand? Is that the kind of good governance Kojo Oppong Nkrumah is talking about? I think that these guys are a bunch of shameless people. Nobody on his right senses will take them serious. They should just shut up and watch what is happening. And Americano, they can either transform themselves into a competent opposition party, or they can be what they are today, a very useless one, very incompetent even in opposition. And we've gotten to a point, I think that Ghana for come to understand politics to a extent. So you see, some of these cheap politics and this kind of street propaganda don't win any value. They don't have any currency. If you want to convince the average young person out there, say, dwell on the issues, the critical issues, because politics and what then the comparative analysis will come. I just said the last 8 years of Akufo-Addo, the indelible scar I leave on the conscience of our democracy. Ghana for freedom, free that. Yeah. So an agent of that particular government, any right to come and educate anybody on governance. When Ukraine dollar and as for now, they were telling us nonsense. Say Ukraine-Russia war, and Ukraine-Russia war, you see, these are a bunch of shameless guys, and America say you're cheap in politics, and it's the reason why people don't take politicians serious anymore. Yeah. And Ghana Nibia who politician not doing so be a con man, because that is how we've created. We've made it in such a way, say, we have power now. Whoever you want to satisfy, whether I agree with the party team and I agree in the team, we draw all of them because I know that they know there is no bit of intellectualism, idiocy taking over the political space, even at the hub of governance and leadership and so forth. So it liberates some of these fools to come into the politics. They do the worst that they can. Just imagine a fool who has been given a free ride in power. Because our power will be a bit. So I think that Ghanaians are really getting serious. You see, let us do intellectual discourse. Now you follow the issue and you know what to talk about and criticize government, because these are some of the things I just to shape in the whole political landscape, for the benefit of not even those in power, but for the average and the ordinary Ghanaian. It is not about my better opposition. The can be a negative. Nanka Petro both me teba from Nakwabrande say me demonstration. Now more dama. When it was 17, demonstration because but from there will be goodwill. Abraham 17. Why didn't you tell people to demonstrate? You understand? Yeah. So, and America said these people are really advertising who they really are. And your friends are pretending to be intellectuals, but in reality, they are not. That was why the last time I told you, say, we prioritize certificate. When I'm a certificate, say, what did you agree in the party? Because you can't be an intellectual. Very often, you don't need to go to your house.
Yeah.
Work of a certificate about what the hell be you and people should know. This guy. You understand? But this all questions with certificate that's what we do. That means what I said. Empty. We must begin to demonstrate to people. Say we are really intellectuals and but empty. That can be assessed in the way and manner we think, we speak. Say baby, man for confidence, inspire, man for. No, because in the last 6 years, I am very fresh on the minds of Ghanaians. Why will any person in the Akufo-Addo government and the near Ghana for corruption? I will come now. Kwabranye Timebenya Kukudu no better radio say they should come on school. Now I'm a journalist and sometimes they create a free room for some of this nonsense to thrive. Now besides say in the last 8 years, information ministry were you able to manage it? You understand? The warfare, the information warfare, and the Akufo-Addo government, and the government got drawn because you could not defend the kind of Neman of social media. Yeah. It got to a point that the Akufo-Addo government was out. People were not even out there defending the government, but he was the information minister. So for him, he's an article of incompetent. But because fortunately they had media platform, then as a phone, they were able to convince people, say, more credibility. But they came to government and exposed themselves. So for me, these guys should be disregarded. They are all attention-seeking freak. They are fading into obscurity. They are fading into irrelevance. And sometimes, in order just to your friends are kicking people to know that is when they begin to make some of these foolish statements. Because in some now cannot bear any reasonable way be when the track record of the party, even your own people admit it, is the worst version of the MPP that we've ever had in this country. I told you, when you sit down and do the NDC MPP comparison, I don't even fall for them because the Kufuor version of the MPP isn't what Akufo-Addo brought. Akwase me last time I catch us akwase war Benz na wo de war your first aka na omode fani pa na kase no 207
yeah
no be behind so de kofa asorofo whenever I was no de ko wiam ponche de number bi the MPP as a political party was hijacked by these criminals and omode ensem omoye so the actual Kufuor MPP
na
wasn't the MPP. You understand? These are a bunch of criminals who hijack the political entity called the MPP and use it for their criminal activities. And all of them are part of it, you understand? Because they were benefiting. Because if not, why will anybody on his right senses, after seeing all that has happened in this country, will be able to be bold enough and come to the media space and say, oh, Momra, you better know how to govern. I think, you see, they do this because they don't respect the people of this country. And maybe they are still living in the past. Maybe some of the guys in the MPP they don't realize where Ghana is at the moment. Now. You see, they still think, say, we are in the 2000s where those cheap propaganda don't fly. But then I'm telling you, say, Obi said we own school demu dakrano. What or a lecture on politics we show. Sure. Do you know why? Because there is a free flow of information within the space. Now, so for whatever you believe it or not, there are a lot of tons of information going out there. People are reading, people are getting a bit enlightened. You understand? First, and yes, I emotions, me as antinime, I wanna name me a way kind of politics, and that's go off. People are beginning to follow issues based on the cons and the pros in it. How I stand to benefit as a Ghanaian and a larger governance sequence, how is it going to impact on the future? Me as a young person, look at the level of desperation that Ghanaians went through in this country. And then I hear documentary where Ghana for young people call Russia say omo kwa kontokwa e bi ma ba omo nan ba ko obi sin nyina hye na nu nyina artificial and as for course okotia bomb so just it's so messy. Because of the desperation that was chasing people out of this country. And people were making millions. People were pocketing millions. This gentleman knew Chrono Akoso under the MPP. And today, suddenly, no, saying yes, these guys are shameless, and within 6 months, and will you be bold enough to be doing some of these things? So I think that you see, politics in a cheap, you know, but in any serious country, you know, you will not have some of these characters running around the media space trying to criticize Obi, because the moral conviction and the moral justification for those things are not there. When you have messed up, mess in our creating, we are not even done. Your friends saying clean it up. Yes, yeah, can't want some kind of and then you are out there talking nonsense. But in your politics, they're cheaper. Why would people even give ears to some of these things?
All right, and come on, what do I say? For the whole week, you know, and come on, as I say, you'll be.